unnatural creatures of unspeakable evil. I give you Lords of Madness, the Book of Aberrations from the 3X line of Dungeons and Dragons. This is the book to own on this line. This is the absolute best of them. Aberrations are monsters that particularly new game masters need help to understand, because these are the aliens of the Dungeons and Dragons world. They are not things to be understood and easily placed and put together. The easiest way to probably understand aberrations is to see the source from where they came from. Most of them are filed off, ripped off from H.P. Lovecraft and his writings in the Cthulhu mythos and the Dreamlands. However, they've gone through so many permutations over the editions and over the years of Dungeons and Dragons that they've really started to become wholly their own entities, and I'm going to talk about them. This book, as you can see, you saw the front, has some wonderful artwork in here as well. I'm sure the gentleman will dispute that with me and nitpick. Earl RPGs will have his to say about that. But look at that guy. Look at him. Look at him. You saw him in a dungeon in the subterranean underworld grottos where he dwells. You don't fight him. He just grabs you, eats your brain, and that's it. And that's it. End of game. One of the problems with some of the aberrations, they're so horrendously powerful. It is pretty difficult to come up with convincing and believable ways that your party can interact with them. I'm going to talk about the ones that you understand and know that this book covers. It doesn't just cover one monster, which is the awesome thing about this book. Each chapter hits a different monster, and then they have chapters that go over some different stuff. But what the chapters detail are the anatomy, the philosophy, the religion, the psychology of these monsters, so that you can have a grasp, an understanding of them, so that you can portray them accurately, correctly, and alien. So your players are like, and they listen, and they sit back, and when the room gets really quiet, and all the players are and they're paying attention, and that scene pops, that is what you aim for as a game master. To have the players talk about that scene 15 years later. Boy, that beholder scared the fuck out of me. When the players do not view anything other than running, sitting there shutting the fuck up, listening, trying to figure something out that has nothing to do with the sword, when you really bring them fully immersed into that role playing, you are doing your job as a game master to the utmost level. Now, this gives you a great grasp on them. It talks about their relationships to other creatures, how their layers are, what their worldviews are like. It goes over, at the very beginning, the Aboleths, sort of postulating that the Aboleths are essentially the creatures that were there, the first sentient life, the first thing that sort of ooze forth from the cosmic slime, and to have great wondrous civilizations under the ocean, vastly before the ages of elves that came surely before men did. And Aboleths are clones. So this Aboleth clones itself off, and they all have the same ancestral clone memory. It's really amazing the way that they work. And this book has pictures that I'm going to get to, showing you the inside. Look at that. It's like a biology textbook. I defy you, the Earl of RPGs, to thumb your swashbuckling aristocratic gold elven nose at this. Look at that. It's like a biology textbook. Why that's important is because it gets the point across of reality, of, for a minute, sort of spinning your belief and go, oh, shit's real. And that is how you want these things to come off of. It has to be, these are the epic monsters in your game. These are the creatures that stand out, that run the plots that they've been hatching that are longer than humanity. And the Aboleths, it starts them off at the beginning for a reason. The Deep Masters, they're at the bottom of the ocean. They have lived longer than any other race. They are from the beginning of time. And we then come to the Mind Flayers. Now, the Mind Flayers are different than that. The Mind Flayers haven't even truly yet begun to exist. They are creatures that dominate the very end of reality. And there's various tidbits there, how they may have done away with that prison at the end of time and gotten themselves back to this place. And it discusses the things that hate them and what their goals are. The mind flayers are Aboleths, wonderful monsters, of course, clearly based off the Cthulhu star spawn. These are little man-sized Cthulhus, and what they have are these huge tanks, and in the center of a tank is a massive brain, and around that brain live these tadpole-like larvae, and they take a person, they like human beings, and they have that human being strapped down to a particular container, particular devices, to strap them down like a chair, and they use surgical like items to open up the back of their head and implant these tadpoles in there like a science fiction horror, and that person transforms into what you see. What a Aboleth is, they are parasites that transform things, and there are other templates that allow you to take an Aboleth and apply it to other kinds of creatures besides human beings, and really make some interesting and horrifying slaves for the Aboleths. And there are even things like ropers, I believe, that they can infest the minds of in that fashion. So, they really get into them, into their goals, how they interact with other things, and they're in the Underdark. They're the race that no one really messes with. You even see in the R.A. Salvatore novels, even the Drow don't mess with the Aboleths, and there's a good reason for that. Aboleths are as scary as something gets. They eat people's brains. That's what they like to eat. And some of the equipment they have, like canisters for brains. And of course, remember, Aboleths are from the future. These are science fiction creatures in your Dungeons and Dragons game. Of course, interestingly enough, a lot of times they've lost, for various reasons, their abilities, much like the Neogi, who have these ships that have come down. Neogis are basically just aliens. They're alien slavers that come down from the stars and typically get stranded on the planet, and then they've set up for generations. Neogis are like a cross between a moray eel and a wolf spider. They're small size. They really like to enslave umber hulks and ride them around, and they're very greedy, avarice little beasts. It's very interesting because they essentially just speak common, because they don't really care about their own traditions and customs and such. It creates a very interesting ecology in the world, if you like, Forgotten Realms, when you place them in there and have them worshiping a god like Joaquin, worshiping this sort of foul aspect of greed and what trade is, because they are traders overall. I mean, they'll take advantage of you. They will run slaves. They'll do all that kind of diabolic stuff, but they're traders. And they, in their society, view everything as property. Everyone, all of the Neogi are slaves to the high Neogi that's there. They also go over some of the dark, blasphemous gods in this book. Of course, they have beholders in here. And beholders, the most utter xenophobic creatures in existence. They are really amazing. They're stone gardens that they create of people. The small pet-like creatures that they make, the way that they control cults and religion and politics, and beholders are very lawful, very shrewd, incredibly intelligent. And what beholders know, which not everyone else does, is beholders are the greatest things that there are. They are vastly above everything else. They have, for a more reasonable challenge in here, the Grell, the Eaters, talking about their philosophy, talking about eating, making a buffet out of everything that they can get a hold of. Those are the more recognizable. The Sauce Char, they also have them in here, but they're like a new aberration race that they made up for this. I really wish they had instead of used one of the other classic ones like Umber Hulks or something like that and put them in here. I think you get more value than just making your own deal up that's new. You have also gives you new feats for these things. There's new kinds of beholders, new kinds of mind flayers. Some great artwork. Here's another one, the lightning javelin of the Grell. And I've used a number of these monsters very successfully in my games. And it has another nice monster portion in the book. It has some interesting prestige classes for people that hunt Aboleths, such as Abolishers. Picture of the Abolisher. But the prestige classes are actually quite nice. Some of them are around either fully or slightly psionists, or other people that have ranks of dungeoneering essentially, part of their class. Some of them are a little less wholesome. Keeper of the Cerulean Sign, that's a neat one. I mean, they have a very Lovecraftian feel to them in my mind, particularly sort of a dream lands. They discuss several different orders in this book. They have new spells, magic items, feats. Of course, the explanation of the gods that these horrendous things worship. And they even give you, in this book, a little kind of heads up. Like, okay, they had to delineate their gods, but these gods are basically the writings of H.P. Lovecraft. They are the Cthulhu mythos. And this is basically the servitor races of the Cthulhu mythos. These are horrible ancient gods that they wish to bring back upon the world. They wish to poke out the sun, have orgies of violence and destruction rampaging across the world, and set up orders that reduce humans, elves, dwarves, orcs, and such things to, at best, slaves to be eaten, and more likely to be completely obliterated from all of existence. The book is absolutely excellent. I strongly recommend it. There's tons of great stuff in here for a Game Master. It had an original price of $34.95. I didn't know what they go for now. I got mine quite some time ago. But you used to be able to get these for less than $15 shipped. I think the prices of 3X books have gone up a good amount since I bought most of my collection. But well worth buying. Look into it. Pick it up. Of the line of these, this one, the Demons, Devils, the Dragon book, all of them, Lord of Madness is hands down the best of those books, and the rest of them are all pretty good too.